Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Balance in Life, where we will be joined by Alan Rasmussen, one of our favorite speakers who comes on and helps us think through some difficult conversations. And today is no different. We're going to talk about strengthening family relationships during tough times. And part of that conversation is going to delve into how we're having conversations with our loved ones, even when we're not on the same page with certain issues. How do we navigate those tough conversations and maintain and even build stronger relationships despite those different perspectives on things? So, I am Crystal Tyler Mackey. I just want to welcome you to this session of Balance in Life on behalf of the Virginia Cooperative Extension Human Development Program team and our partners, North Carolina Cooperative Extension. As we go throughout the session, we will invite you to engage in the chat box. Myself and my co-host, Bethany Eigel, will be moderating the chat box and looking for all of your great thoughts and questions there. A quick reminder, we are on a Zoom webinar rather than a Zoom meeting. And so I will tell you in the chat box, when you post a question, the automatic default is that it only shows up to those of us that are called panelists. That's Alan Rasmussen, Bethany Eigel, and myself. If you want your good comment or question to be seen by everyone else who's on, and I think there are 220 plus people registered for this session, then you'll need to choose in the drop-down box all panelists and attendees. And so that way we can all be engaged in the conversation during the chat box. Having said that, I am going to stop talking and quickly get out of the way because there is no shortage of content to cover on this topic. So all please join me in welcoming Alan Rasmussen. Welcome, Alan.
Hey, thank you for that. I'm glad to be here today, and I appreciate a return visit. And I especially appreciate everyone who is in attendance today, listening to this training. This is why we're doing it, and I'm so appreciative that all of you are here. My name is Alan Rasmussen. I am a prevention specialist with Rappahannock Community Services. I've worked for this agency since 2003 as a prevention specialist and with a focus on suicide prevention and substance abuse prevention. Just briefly, I also do some work for National Counseling Group based in Culpeper and am a qualified mental health professional, able to work with adults and children. I'm also a retired chief probation and parole officer from the Virginia Department of Corrections, where I worked for 28 years. Now, this COVID-19 pandemic, we all know that this is taking a mental, an emotional, and physical toll on individuals of all ages, as well as our families. Families are dealing with employment and financial issues. They are dealing with the way their children receive their education. Families are also processing news stories about civil unrest in communities across the country. And, there's also a presidential election on November 3. This presentation today is about helping families do what they can do to make a positive difference during these tough times in their homes, with their family, in their households. It's about strengthening relationships in our families in an effort to find peace and stability in these challenging times. The focus of this presentation is on how we interact with one another and the impact we can make on building and strengthening our family relationships and stability. Now, I'm going to share my screen here, so give me 1 second. I'll get hooked up and get started here. And so you can see the initial title slide there. I want to talk a little bit about interpersonal behavior patterns. And, patterns of interpersonal behavior actually define how you communicate with others. And each style defines a particular way of responding to others. Now, I'm laying some foundation information, so give me a little time on this and it'll all make sense as we move forward. But how you respond to people determines how people treat you and how much confidence and self-respect you are able to develop and maintain. Now, when we look at keys to effective communication, I'm going to be talking about passive communication styles, aggressive communication styles, behavior patterns, as well as assertive communication styles. So, the keys to effective communication. It's important to strike a balance between this passive behavior style and aggressive behavior style that I'm going to talk about. When you look at the passive behavior style, these individuals allow people to intimidate them, possibly push them around. They allow people to tell them what to do. Passive individuals find it difficult to express their needs directly and use indirect methods or manipulation. When we're in this passive behavior style, it often leaves the other person you're engaged with feeling used because they're left confused and they don't know exactly what you are feeling and what you need. And when using this passive style is easier than saying no. Passive people in this passive behavior style often have trouble expressing their feelings and saying no. And it's using the style is less emotionally draining to them, and it helps prevent what they perceive might be rejection. They don't want to be rejected. The drawbacks to this passive behavior pattern is people learn a behavior pattern in dealing with you. It becomes easy to take advantage of you because you always allow others to have their way. It builds up resentment and anger in yourself when you never stand up for your rights because you're not getting your way, and you can become resentful and angry about that. It undermines your self-esteem and self-confidence. Now, when you look at this aggressive behavior style, it allows they always put their needs and desires before those of others. As I talk about these styles, think about people you may know, some people you interact with, or people you see in the news, whatever. But try to spot these styles and the impact it can have on others. But aggressive people are often combative and argumentative. They're ready to fight at the first sign of perceived resistance to what they think or what they believe. They can be demanding or threatening in their approach. And, this ultimately creates a hostile resentment in the person whose help they may actually need. It doesn't help build a relationship. It can create this hostility and resentment. So when you look at this assertive personality, this interaction pattern, assertive people stand up for themselves and what they believe they need and desire. They can do that without being aggressive. They don't hide from it. They do what I call put their feelings and what they need on the table. It's easy to see. They can explain it. They refuse to be bullied. And at the same time, they are considerate of others' needs and feelings. They don't mind saying what they need, but they also show empathy. They care about others and are willing to listen to what they need as well. Their behavior is based on the belief that you have a right to be yourself. You have a right to freely express your feelings openly and honestly. We talked about that in being resilient. Resilient people can put their feelings on the table openly and honestly. They believe you have a right to pursue your own needs without infringing on the equal rights of others. They also pursue goals with honesty, openness, and conviction. And they express, not repress their feelings. They avoid resentment and anger. And they are able to develop self-esteem and self-confidence through their interaction process. They gain respect and support of other people. And they are more likely to get what they want and to achieve their goals in life. So, keys to being assertive. You are in control of your feelings and yours alone. Just as no one can control how you feel, the opposite is true. You cannot control how other people feel. You most likely want to know how they feel so you can understand it and work together and move through any issues that are going on and show that empathy as well. Uh, Assertive people communicate clearly, completely, and directly. The why, how, and what. And like I said, they can express empathy, an understanding of others' position and what they feel and what they're going through. They say directly what they need, and they keep in mind that people are not mind readers. If you don't tell people what you feel, what you need, they can't read your mind. You know, this when you start guessing, you can guess wrong, and it can lead you down a wrong path. So you know, it's good to put on the table exactly what you're feeling so people can understand that. And like I said, they do not expect people to guess what you need or desire. They're going to let you know specifically, and they're going to express it in an empathetic way. So, some golden rules of assertive philosophy that are worth discussing. By trying to govern our lives so as to never hurt anyone, we actually end up hurting ourselves and other people. Sacrificing our rights usually results in destroying relationships or preventing ones from forming. If we do not tell other people how their behavior negatively affects us, we are denying them an opportunity to change their behavior. I mean, you can see through just these three pieces of these golden rules, this is about relationship building, evolving trust, connecting, and you do this through the way you interact and communicate. And it's okay. A lot of people are afraid to put their feelings on the table because they're thinking, hey, the people may get upset at me and not like what I'm saying, but they may understand and be able to move forward and adjust the way they think and become a team player. When we do what we think is right for us, we feel better about ourselves and we have more authentic and satisfying relationships with others. Some other golden rules. We all have a right to express ourselves as long as we do not violate the rights of others. And there's no more to be gained from life. There's more to be gained from life by being free and able to stand up for ourselves and from honoring the same rights of other people. There's more to be gained from life by doing that. When we are assertive, everyone involved usually benefits. I like this list of rights. I like to put this on the table as well. We all have a right to have and express our own feelings and ideas. We have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. If we can incorporate these rights into the way we all talk and interact with each other, especially in the family, there's going to be more connectivity, understanding, and you'll be able to move through tough times and work together and understand one another and likely get closer than ever. We have a right to ask for what we want. And again, nobody's a mind reader. So if you need something and you want it, it's important to be able to say that. And everybody should accept it and want to know what other people want. You have a right to get some of your own needs met. You have a right to be treated with respect. And you do have a right to say no at times and not feel guilty. I was talking to someone the other day that I work along with and on interactions, and they said they have learned now to be able to say no and do so without making a long, elaborate explanation. Just, hey, uh, no. You don't have to explain everything. No. Just say no and not feel guilty. You have a right to ask for information from others to gain a deeper understanding of what they're feeling, what they're asking for, what they need. And it shows that you care when you ask and want to do that. You're connecting again. So the ways behavior styles are expressed and the effect they have on others. I want to lay this out so you can see the dynamics that can evolve in relationships and family dynamics or any relationships with these behavior styles. So let's look at the passive. When you look at characteristic passive, they allow others to choose for them. They are can be emotionally dishonest. They're not putting on the table what they need, what they want, what they're feeling. They can be indirect, self-denying, and inhibited. In win-lose situations, they typically lose. If they do get their way, it usually is indirectly. Now, characteristics of aggressive. They usually choose for other. They're inappropriately honest, and you might want to say tactless sometimes. They can be direct and they can be self-enhancing. They can be expressive and derogatory in their communication with others. In win-lose situations, they typically win. They're going to make sure they win, no doubt. So when you look at assertive, the assertive category here, assertive, they choose for themselves. They are appropriately honest. They can be direct, but they are self-respecting, self-expressing, and straightforward. They usually convert a win-lose situation into a win-win situation by caring about others and caring about themselves. When you look at your own feelings during the exchange with these individuals, passive, they feel anxious, ignored, helpless, and often manipulated. And they can actually get angry at themselves, and it can also sometimes turn into anger at others. Aggressive, you're looking at the feelings, your own feelings on the exchange: righteous, superior, disrespectful, controlling. They may later possibly feel guilt, but most of the time not. When you look at the assertive, you're looking at feeling confident, self-respecting, goal-oriented, and valued. And later, after the process, assertive people usually feel accomplished. They feel good about what went on. They got something done for themselves and others. So others' feelings on the exchange, when you're working with somebody who's a passive, you may feel, other people may feel guilty or superior because this person isn't going to express what they feel, what they need. Sometimes they can be frustrated with you. Aggressive, people can feel humiliated, defensive, resentful, and hurt. Assertive, others' feelings on the exchange, they will actually feel valued and respected. Outcomes, passive, others achieve their goals at your expense, your rights are violated, and with the aggressive interaction, they achieve their goals at others' expense, their rights are upheld and others are violated. When we look at outcomes with assertive engagements, outcome is determined by above board negotiation. Man, there's discussion, people put their feelings on the table, it's a healthy interaction, and people are honest about what they feel, what they need. And as a result, everyone's rights are respected. Others' view of you in the exchange, passive, lack of respect, distrust can be considered a pushover. They do not know where this person stands because they won't let you know what they're feeling or what they need. Aggressive, vengeful, angry, distrustful, fearful. Assertive, you're going to ultimately, others' view of you in the exchange, you're going to evolve respect and trust. And, like I don't mind saying, as well as I do, when people trust one another, they can begin to build healthy relationships. When they have healthy relationships, they can begin to cooperate, work together, and make big things happen, make good decisions and work together. And with the assertive, they know where they stand with you. So, an underlying belief system with a passive is I should never make anyone uncomfortable or displeased except myself. Aggressive, I have to put others down to protect myself. The assertive, I have a responsibility to protect my own rights. I respect others, but not necessarily their behavior. So, some tips for effective communication for families during tough times. Know what you want to say before you say it. Think about it, practice it, rehearse it. When you know what you want to say before you say it, it keeps the discussion on focus. It helps you make key points that are, they're important to you. And another tip here is plan ahead. Think about what you want to say, what you want to achieve, how you're going to say it, and, rehearse it. Don't be afraid to rehearse it if you have to. Visualize it. Number two, anticipate detours and interactions with others. Conversations rarely go as planned. There's always something that can take it off course. So anticipate questions, interjections by others, and prepare a response to deal with this in advance. Anticipate what people may say, how they may react, and come up with a plan. And then timing is key. You want to initiate, engage when you are ready. You want to pick a time of day that is best for you. And you want to pick a time when the person can give their undivided attention. You want to stay calm. Do not get excited before, during, or after your delivery. Try to relax before the discussion. If you have to breathe, do meditation, whatever, just relax, get yourself together, be calm, and do your best not to get emotional during the conversation. If you get heated, and some people can, the other person may also. So if things get out of hand, you may want to suggest continuing the conversation to later. Let's talk about this later when we're calmer and we can get our feelings under control. So you want to remain calm after the conversation, no matter how it went. Keep that peacefulness and calmness. You want to get things off to a good start and a positive start. Recognize something good about the other person. State what you want to discuss clearly and briefly. Use I messages to let them know how you are feeling about the situation and you the issue you want to discuss. And always listen to what the other person has to say. Try to find common ground that will meet both of your needs. Express how you feel in clear terms. Do not send mixed messages. Use proper body language, gestures, posture, facial expressions, tone of voice, and maintain firm eye contact. I like to look people in the eyes, radiate I care, and I want to have a relationship and a nice conversation. I want to make things happen. So maintain an erect body posture. Speak clearly, audibly, and firmly. Do not whine or allow an apologetic tone to creep into your voice. And always use gestures and facial expressions for emphasis, but avoid being overly dramatic. Use language appropriate to the receiver and keep points simple and clear. Now, I always, as I'm working toward the end here, I like to talk about listening, because listening is also part of communication. All right. Sometimes people think it's just talking and talking. And I love this little quote here: communication is a competitive exercise in which the first person to draw a breath is declared the listener. So, you always have to try to get a smile. I see Crystal smiling there. That's nice to see. So, anyway, active listening is critical. To be a good active listener, you want to concentrate on what is being said. And sometimes that's hard because you've got your mind going on what you're thinking about, but it's an important role to listen and concentrate on what is being said by others and their intent, what it means, what they're saying. Non-verbally communicate an interest, your gestures, the way you sit, the way you move, the way you look, non-verbally. Listen to all facts and try not to interrupt until the speaker has concluded. You want to listen for key words of interest on which to comment and ask questions if need be. When appropriate, ask questions for clarification. Be sure you get a deep understanding of what they're trying to say and a clear understanding. You want to hear the person as they are, not the way you would like them to be. You want to feel them and understand them. Hold back personal judgments until the speaker has presented their ideas. Take the time to clearly understand what they're saying. When we talked about that resilience, you can learn from others. What's to be learned from thinking as they do? I may not agree with it, but it's okay to understand it. You understand where they are, where they're coming from. You want to stay in the here and now and focus on the current issues and not get sidetracked on what happened in the past or the way we would like things to be, or, sometimes the way the person was in the past. You can build up this resentment and stuff. Don't let that interfere with the here and now and what's going on. Active listening. Let the speaker know that you are really paying attention. You can provide feedback, that reflective, hey, I hear you saying this, am I correct? Or, and get feedback, give feedback and get feedback. Acknowledging what you heard does not mean you agree with what you heard, only that you understand what they're saying. And listening communicates respect by trying to understand someone's point, even if you disagree with it. People have a right to feel what they feel. There's nothing more powerful than being understood by another person. And I'm going to tell you, I want to emphasize that point, because I'm going to tell you right now, it can be a trigger for some people if they feel like they want to build a relationship, they have something that they feel is very important to them, but no one cares to understand what they're feeling, and they just don't feel understood. I mean, it can be a major trigger for people to get agitated and angry and frustrated. Most people want a relationship. They want to be understood by someone else. So remember, assertive people are happy people. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you all, and I love this Virginia Cooperative Extension and what they're doing to help others. And I really appreciate being able to be here. I hope this was helpful. Thank all of you.
Thank you, Alan. We are at the moment, there are a couple of questions, so I'm going to respect anyone who does need to log off right away, but I do want to put a couple questions out there to you, Alan, if you're willing to take on a couple.
Sure.
One that came in earlier was when you're looking to have this kind of conversation with people outside of your home, family members and loved ones that are outside of your household, is there a best format? Is it Zoom? Is it phone call? Is it email? Any tips on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I tell you, you would determine what's best by interacting with the other. Me, I'd say, hey, what's the best way for us to talk about this? I'll accommodate you, or we'll work to make this happen. So sometimes it can be this email stuff, you can get lost in words if you're not expressing them. On the Zoom, I like Zoom. But if you're going to have an interaction with somebody in the family, do it with them. When you bring everybody in, I mean, things get sidetracked and you don't get to what you want to talk about. So if you need to have a special conversation with somebody, uh, I like Zoom. I can see the person, I can see their expressions, they can see mine, and each person gets to talk. And so, if it works on the phone, as long as people listen and use the same rules here and not get aggressive. But the Zoom does give you an opportunity to see somebody. But I do caution on keep it between the two of you all, and then bring in the big group for other stuff.
That's awesome.
Does
So
that
Zoom
help?
or
I hope
Face,
that helps. But
that
that's
helps.
my
Zoom,
experience, and I'm not just thinking about it. I've experienced it. We're all going through stuff right now. We're learning as we go, and that's things I've seen.
for sure. So whatever that video technology is, right? You can have the face to face.
Yeah,
Two other
FaceTime and all that. Yeah.
Two other quick ones I want to throw out there. One was if you're feeling really emotional about something and you truly want to communicate in an assertive way, is it best to cool off first?
Is it? And you want
Best
you?
to cool off. You want to communicate and be assertive, not aggressive, but you're feeling emotional about a situation. Is it best to cool off?
Well, if you're getting worked up, yes, I would definitely, until you can express your feelings and that useful. I love this. It's one thing to express your feelings. I mean, because that leaves it wide open. I can yell and scream and express them, but you need to do it in a useful way. And the best way to do that is if you're calm, you're relaxed, and you do have somebody who listens, because that can be a trigger too. But you don't want to get emotional and start off agitated or upset or angry. You want to put it out there in a useful way where people can understand it, and hopefully you're interacting with others who are going to be assertive, show empathy, care about you, and want to build a relationship. This relationship stuff's a two-way street. It's not a one way. People think I'm going to make this relationship happen. It takes two people or more to form a relationship.
And I have one more.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I might come to you in a minute, Herman, because Herman started posting about sometimes we think we're being nice or laid back and we're really being passive. And so some of us were chatting about that in the chat box. And I know there's more out there that didn't say anything. But one of the questions that came up was, can a person who's communicating and trying to use an assertive style become aggressive if the person they're communicating with is passive?
Can they become aggressive?
Yeah, so if the person, do you see that
No.
happen in a cycle? Does that
I
become a
would
trigger?
Now, I would see an assertive person wanting to have a relationship and want to know what the other person thinks as well, but they don't have problem. Look, just because you put your feelings out in a useful way doesn't mean you're being aggressive. You're letting people know what you think and what you feel. And if you can picture the other people, someone's passive, you may encourage them, look, I would really like to know what you're feeling and thinking as well. I mean, I'm not, it's important to me to know what you're thinking. If we're going to work on this together and accomplish something together, I don't want to be the one just all my opinions. So what do you think? What do you feel? And those are those great questions you use with mental health stuff. You use it on anything. What do you think? What do you feel? So you take a role to try to get teamwork going. This is all about teams, man. If it's a one person show, you don't need anybody else. I'm going to do my thing. This is what I think. I don't care. But assertive people care, and they know they're in relationship with others. So it can get, and like I said, with the passive, if the person just refuses to say, anybody can get a little agitated with that or frustrated with it, and you feel like, what's going on here? But and you can't guess what people feel. So it's important for everybody to work on their own stuff and be able to put it on the table. And it's okay to say what you feel. And that's where you get productivity, engagement, relationships, big things happening. You move forward. And so Herman, I like that. It can be viewed, if only time it would get viewed maybe as aggressive if you get frustrated because a person won't say something. And that frustration is a cousin to anger and all this other stuff, which can jump into looking like you're aggressive. So, hey, always just lay back, put your feelings out, say, look, it would really be important to me to hear what you feel. I care about you. We want to do this together. I don't want to do it by myself. Let's do it together. So what do you think? So you try to coach that and move it along. And you know what? Passive people can begin to open up usually if they feel they can trust somebody. This trust is the key. Sorry for the long-winded thing there.
That's all right. Herman, you got it? You got your question?
Yeah. I was lots of times and me myself being being laid back and passive, it'll really shut me down real quick if they say, well, how do you feel? And you say how you feel, and they go, what?
Oh yeah,
like that, then okay, well, that's it. I'm not saying anything else.
You don't want to. People do not need to do that. That's why I'm talking. We need to let people express themselves. We don't have to agree with it, but we don't have to jump right in and say, hey, I don't agree with you. That's a. I think I've said this before. When I'm in a group, let's say I'm working outside of family, or even if you're in a family trying to work on something, you don't want, if everybody goes, yeah, let's do that. I'm going, wait a minute, someone tell me how what I'm saying can go wrong. Because I want to make sure we're moving in the right direction, and I need your input. So what's the positives? What's the negatives? I'm not challenged by that. You don't think this works? Let's process that together. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're going to open my mind up to something I didn't think about. So it's this engagement's good stuff, and we should never shut anyone down. Everyone has the right for whatever's going on to feel what they feel, and we need to know that so we know where they stand and what's up. And we're not here to bully them or change them. We're just here to understand.
Awesome. Well, I hate that we are past time and that we have to stop now because there's so much more to go. But Alan, thank you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Always bringing us some great information and tips that are really practical that we can apply to our lives. So thanks to everyone for being here. I will quickly close out by letting you know that we will send out the recording link for this and Alan's slide deck so that you have that at your disposal. So everyone take an opportunity to reflect on some of the things that we have heard and learned. We're all continually growing. None of us has ever, arrived at perfection with any of this work. So take a tip and work on it, and we all keep growing and learning. We'll see you all here next week, same time, same place, different topic. Thanks, Alan, Herman, Bethany. Thanks all for being here.
Thank you, Crystal. Good to see you, Herman and Bethany. Take care.
Good to see you too, Alan.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.